Well, it's a very special programme tonight. It's called Cox at Christmas. Don't worry, it's a family show. But it's a very special man with a very special job at a very special time. His name is Paul Cox. He's the manager of Mansfield Town. And he's going to be the manager of Mansfield Town for a while longer at least. And he's got one very big game coming up against the mighty Liverpool in the FA Cup on January the 6th. But who is Paul Cox? Who is the man who's got Mansfield Town at the moment just a few points off the playoff zone long before it gets to the real business end of the season? Where does he come from? What does he feel like? What does he do? What's his family like? What is his aspirations? Well, let's find out. A very good evening, Paul Cox. Nice to see you.
Good evening.
Now, you're a Nottingham person, aren't you? I mean, you were born in this area. Where were you born, Paul?
I was actually born in the city hospital, but brought up initially in Hyacinth Green, and the family moved over to Bulwell. So yeah, I'm born realistically in the city areas of Nottingham.
What are your first memories as a little chap? You know, if you were asked to remember the first things that you really remember now, like I'm asking you, what would they be?
I think from my early memories were, we were. I think we were a family that didn't really have a lot of money, so we had things like, I know people laughed at it now, but we used to have to go down to the toilet down the end of the terrace, and we had a tin bath that me and my sister used to have to jump in together. So they were great memories, and I think I've taken my roots and I've tried to hold them close to me throughout my life.
Were you always a sporty type?
Yeah, it was just anything that I could play. Once again, might sound really strange, but I played everything from football to chess at school. I think I swam for the county, played cricket for the county. Did everything that you could possibly do in sport.
And what about academically? You played chess, which would mean you're a bit of a thinker.
Yeah, I was quite decent at school. It was only till I think it was about the year 9 that I got offered a contract in Notts County that I really took my foot off the pedal with the my school work. But I was one of these kids. I went every day I could. I was never one of these that went in at 9 o'clock and went through the gates at 9:30. I loved it. I loved playing sport at school, but I also loved the the actual classroom stuff. And the classroom stuff actually it comes back a little bit later in my life to I actually became a teacher myself.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Early doors memories then of enjoying sport, enjoying school. First girlfriend at age what?
Wow, now you're on. I was quite a young man when I think I got my first girlfriend.
How old were you?
I was still at Hyacinth Green, so I must have been probably 6 or 7 when I had my first.
Really?
My first, yeah. I mean,
are you still in touch? I mean,
no, I'm not still in touch now.
Your better half's listening.
I can't name names, but no, it was. I think it was one of these lads that it wasn't a girlfriend as such, but she was a close female acquaintance at that stage.
You had that cheeky smile even then, did you? Because I'm told it's a cheeky smile that sometimes works with it. Well,
I don't know about that. I mean, but it must have been that I was good at sport or something like that. But certainly weren't the cheeky smile.
So the football, did you play for any sort of decent size before you went to sort of the Notts County situation? Did you play for Nottingham boys and things? Well, like that?
Initially, yeah, I captained Nottingham boys from all the way through. My school years, and initially started off at Nottingham Forest as a young man. It was a lad called Russell Slade, who's now manager of Leyton Orient, that came to see me. I was a centre forward at the time. I was a goal scorer, believe it or not. And Russell Slade came to watch me for City Boys, where they wanted to play me as a centre back. And he asked me to come over to Notts County, played me in a few games, and I think from about year 9 onwards, I was playing for the youth team and reserve football at Notts County. So it was my great granddad. He was a miner at Babington Pit. He was a staunch Notts County fan that basically forced me to sign for Notts County.
You will sign for the Magpies.
That's how it was. It was he was one of these that he hated Nottingham Forest, even though as a young kid I was studying the Trent End and used to watch Forest, but it was that fierce sort of competition between the two clubs, and that my granddad was a staunch Magpie that I signed for Notts County.
Right, well, let's get into some of the music that you like. Are you a musical person? Do you like
I love music, yeah. I think it affects, I think, everyone's everyday, moods and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think it's such a powerful tool.
What should we hear first, then?
Well, I've got a song called Danny California by the Red Hot Chili Peppers that it really sort of, when you're in a bit of a lull, it really gets the adrenaline going and really, it really kickstarts your day.
Do you play it at home after a home defeat? Or,
I try and do it when I'm, when I just need picking up a little bit. It just gives you a good, it's got a good bass to it, and it's a great band. So yeah, it just gives you a good feel.
That was the first choice of Paul Cox, manager of Mansfield Town. And the programme tonight, Cox at Christmas. And Danny California starts us off there by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. More to come from Paul right after these.
Mansfield 103.2.
So Paul Cox, we're talking to you about your life, and we got as far as, how old would you be when you've signed Notts County? Granddad says get your name on that dotted line. How old would you be then?
I was about, it must have been year 9 at secondary school. We had a great school team at that stage, but yeah, Notts County, I think they gave me a 2-year apprentice, 1-year pro at that stage. So for the last 2 years of my school life, even though I loved being at school, I didn't really concentrate as much as I probably should have done. Yeah. But yeah, I knew realistically I had a job that, I'd walked over hot coals, and I think it was after leaving school, I probably went into looking back, probably the 2 best years. Well, I did 1 year apprentice and then I signed 2-year pro, but probably did the best couple of years of my life being an apprentice.
Can you remember one particular game? Anything that stood out for you at Notts County?
Yeah, I just think as a young pro, I think it's always your debut and being in an environment with the first team. And I mean, when I was a schoolboy and first went into doing my apprenticeship, there were great players at the club: Gary Mills, Gary Birtles, Jeff Pike, Willie McStay. There was some fabulous. John Barnwell was the manager at the time.
Johnny.
Yeah, and he was honestly the club was absolutely rocking, and it was just a good time to be at the club. But it was the best years of my life, my apprenticeship. It really turned me from, as I call it now, a boy, into a man. And it was. I enjoyed all of it.
Did you clean anyone's boots?
Yeah, I was on Mark Draper, sort of like shot to the stars, him and Tommy Johnson, and I was entrusted with those two's boots, but I don't think I lasted long, to be honest. I think Draper was a bit of a. He used to make me clean, everywhere inside the little parts where your laces went, and I got a bit cheesed off it after a bit. So, but I still keep in touch with Drapes and Tommy now, and both have made fabulous careers.
From Notts County, what was next?
Well, from Notts County, I became a bit of a journeyman. I just lost my way. Ended up at Hull for a little bit. Halifax Town, little spells at places like Burnley, and but really sort of lost my way in life as well as probably in football. In life,
what do you mean?
I didn't really understand what life was all about when I was a young man, if that makes sense, and too many things going off in my life, and I didn't really concentrate on the one thing that I really loved and was a passion for me. I just ended up floating about and sort of playing sort of part-time.
Were you a playboy?
No, I wasn't. It wasn't that. It was. I think as a young man, I was quite headstrong, and I wasn't very good at taking advice, and it's one of the biggest learning curves I've gone through in my life in terms of keeping good people around you and taking good advice when it's given. And there's a couple of good people in my life that turned up at the right time for me, that put me on the straight and narrow.
Who were they?
I've got a lad called John Ramshaw that when I came out of football initially, he's the one that pushed me into the teaching sort of side, and I was a lad that really left school. I wasn't thick at school, but I left school with more or less nothing, and never thought I'd become a teacher. And John became a bit of a father figure to me, and really.
He was a teacher himself, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and put me on the straight and narrow, and he showed me, a different path to what I was actually going down.
Were you a bit of a thuggo at that stage?
No, I wasn't. I was just a normal young man that, thought he knew what life was all about, and you quickly realise that if you don't respect life, it comes down and bites you sometimes. And I went through a massive learning curve in my life, but one that I look back on now, and I'm so grateful that I went through that, because it's given me such a lift now and a positiveness in my life that, I've got one or two people to thank for that.
Well, let's move on in a moment with more on your life and more on the future. But what about the next choice of music?
Well, next tune I'm going to go for is it's the Unfinished Symphony by Massive Attack.
Why?
And it's there's some of the words that are involved in it, and the the actual harmony of the song is it takes me back to a certain period of my life when things weren't so right. So it's a good tune for me.
You're listening to Mansfield 103.2, Cox at Christmas. Paul Cox with me, Tony Delahunty. And that was, of course, Unfinished Sympathy, Massive Attack. But we'll hear more about Paul Cox, about a change in his life, about 29 years of age, and heading away from football, which he said he came out of early. What happened next? After the break, you'll find out.
Mansfield 103.2.
Paul Cox, you leave football early and then you head in a different direction altogether. Before we go into that different direction, did you ever think one day when you were playing football that you'd be managing a team playing against Liverpool Football Club?
I just think you always have dreams and aspirations, but like I say, going through some of my sort of mid-20s is that I didn't know if I'd be in football at all. I wasn't. I was heading nowhere, and I was taking up jobs. I worked in security for a while, did a bit of cabin, because at the time I had a young son, and bills needed to pay and needed to be paid, and food needed to be placed on tables. So it was, it was a massive learning curve for me, and one that, like I say, I look back fondly. I don't look at it as being bad times. I look at it being a massive learning curve for me, and I've taken a lot of the ethics that I learnt in my mid-20s into today. It's and I really do, I hold people that that have helped me in the past really close to me now.
You also had a few odd things happen in your life, and you've instigated some of those odd things. I think you've had a hat trick of non-turned ups for weddings.
Yeah, I mean, me and my partner now, we kind of laugh about it, and everyone was like, sort of like giving me the title of runaway groom.
How many times have you actually not turned up on the wedding day?
I think it's about 2 or 3. I think.
Well, you don't count them, no?
Well, no, it's but
Do any of these ladies still speak to you?
One or two of them, yeah, but it was one of these scenarios where I just wasn't ready at that time, and I apologise, and you kind of move on.
Yeah, but so you've never actually been married. You've had a child, but you've never.
Yeah, I've got 3 children. It's no secret.
You're a very honest lad, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm an open book. I've made some massive mistakes in life. You just waste time lying about your past. You might as well. I've got 3 different, children with 3 different partners. And
let's just talk about one particular marriage. It was arranged in Jamaica, and you got the family all over there, and the lady concerned was over there. And you didn't go?
No, it was a bit surreal at the time. I got my brother-in-law, my sister was over there, my family were over there, and
Did you ring up or anything?
No, it was my brother-in-law actually rang me and asked where I was.
Where were you?
I was back in England, in Nottingham. I just had to tell the truth that I just didn't really want to do it. So,
were the family devastated?
No, they was over the moon. They was on Niggerl Beach at the time. It was about 38 degrees, and they were just tucking into a bit of Jamaican rum. So they got a holiday out of it.
At this stage, I've got to say, no, I've got your nail down here. Not only is the Liverpool game a big occasion ahead of you on the 6th, you're going to turn up for that, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so.
You'll turn up for the Liverpool game. Will you turn up on the 4th at the where the marriage vows to your lady Tasha this time is set down, or is she going to be 4th time unlucky?
Well, the chairman's actually told Tash that I'm handcuffed to him 24 hours prior to the big day, and
she's aware of your record. Is she?
The chairman said it's in his hands now. He's going to make sure I'm there on the day, so I can't turn up and not please the boss.
Now, this marriage existed around a proposal that came from the result of a football match.
Yeah, it was.
Before the match actually started, it was decided that you would propose and presumably be accepted, poor lass, if the team won.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes back a while with Tash. The last FA Cup run we had at Eastwood, it started off, on the Friday night before we played Wrexham away, which I thought we were going to get beat, I took up to Meadowhall and just said, look, if we win tomorrow, I'll treat you to a nice new outfit. And then it's gone on from there, from close to actually proposal. So
what was the Lincoln City game? What was the prize for the Lincoln City game? As if we didn't know.
Well, it was marriage, and the first thing I knew was when Radio Mansfield reporter actually congratulated me on my wedding, and so if there'd have been a camera there, the look on my face would have actually told a story.
But for the record, you'll be there.
Yes, I'm going to be there. I'm 40 now. And it's about time that I tie myself down.
Yeah, okay, fine. Poor lass. Let's come on to what was happening when you left football. You got into being a teacher. How did that work out?
Well, it was, like I say, I go back to a time in my life where I was doing a bit of cabin, bit of security work, and I spoke to John Ramshaw. He opened up a few doors and pushed me into teaching, which I never thought I would see myself doing. And from there on, I think the kids I really enjoyed working with was some of the real inner city kids in Nottingham. Kids that have hadn't had the best start in life and probably not got the most money and the best prospects. And it was massive part of my life, because I really did. The job was fantastic for me, really, to see some of these kids shine. I mean, later on in the years that came, people like Lyndon Meikle came through the academy and the teaching.
Who plays for you now at Mansfield?
Yeah, Anthony Howe was in there, Junior Daniel, Ben Hutchinson. They're all sort of inner city lads that by their own admittance probably didn't achieve much at school. But, we got them, schooled them with the football, gave them a little bit of discipline that they probably need in their life. And getting these kids to achieve it's a massive plus for me.
So when did the management really start, the management side of it?
Well, with John, I was overseeing the academy at Hucknall, and it was John that was really proactive in pushing me and telling me that I had a decent sort of future in it. And at that sort of stage, all I wanted to do was learn, listen, and work hard. And John tested me a few times.
We're talking about John Ramshaw now.
Yeah, John tested me a few times, and he was a great role model for me in terms of work ethic. And I used to just watch and study and see how he was meticulous with all his planning. And I learned a lot of John. And like I say, he had a big part to play in a massive crossroads in my life.
Clubs that you went to then?
Well, we parted company then. John, we went to Leek, and from there on, I came back to Eastwood because it was local. And Brian Chambers, I came a number 2 under Brian Chambers at Eastwood, and I think it's about 18 months after that, I took the job, and Eastwood were bottom of the league. I think we were about 7 points bottom of the league that year.
Did very well then, didn't they?
We finished one place outside the playoffs that year, yeah. And there's a lovely guy, Keith Smith was chairman at the time, who sadly passed away. Gave me a lot of confidence to work with him. I always believed in me. And then, when Keith passed away, a school friend of mine, Rob Young, took over the club. And once again, I've worked for 3 chairmen now that I'm a really lucky man that, all 3 have been really supportive and more than anything have believed in me. So, yeah, real positive.
John Radford now, working with him, he brought you to Mansfield. How difficult a choice to come to Mansfield? Was it difficult?
I had a lot of offers at the same level of football at the time. I spoke to a number of clubs. If I'm going to be totally honest, a lot of people told me not to entertain Mansfield. It was You know, I'm an open book, and I don't mind telling the truth. A lot of people said it was a graveyard job, a job that you couldn't really survive in management. But, you know, it's just something about John. He's got a lot of charisma, and he's a good man, and there's something about him. And the challenge, actually, it ticked quite a few boxes for me.
We'll talk more about those boxes in a moment, but tick another box for us. Next choice of music.
Right, well, the next one is a bit of a deep song from a deep group, or should I say a dark group. It's In Your Room by Depeche Mode. It's, you know, the group is a fabulous band to listen to, but some of the, you know, the words that they sing about and stuff like that really do, like I say, they take you into a different part of your mind. And
Which part of your mind?
it's the dark side. It's
Is there a dark side of you? Is there?
Yeah, there's a dark side to me, but you know, it's like I say, it's a place I don't usually go to. It's you know, every now and then.
Oh, maybe hear about more of that in just a moment or two. You're listening to Mansfield 103.2, Cox at Christmas, with a few of his choices from his life and a lot about his life as well. The dark side of Paul Cox coming up in just a moment. Don't go away.
Mansfield 103.2.
You're back with Cox at Christmas, Paul Cox at Christmas. A very special Christmas for you. Okay, Christmas Day is gone, but the new year, and we know what's coming in the new year. And after that, you know, after Liverpool, whatever happens there, maybe, who knows, miracles do happen, then it's the league. And my guess is, though you'd love to get a great result against Liverpool, his promotion at the end of the season is what you'd want. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the cup games are fabulous for dreams and memories, but it's the bread and butter that I really do get off on. And you know, getting this club into the Football League would just be immense, and that for me is our biggest goal this season.
What are the things that we notice as journalists and when we cover a game? And many managers, been a lot of managers at Mansfield Town. You know, a lot of managers. You know, you can get a PhD, you can get a doctorate at university on naming the managers of Mansfield Town over the last few years. I suppose it's the same in football throughout. You know, you win a game, you win a few games, and I remember Billy Davis of Nottingham Forest say 3 defeats, and you know, you're at the bottom of the pile. A lot of the fans dislike you, they think you're terrible, and that sort of thing. You get stick. You've had a lot of stick. I mean, how do you live with that stick when you're doing your darndest to make it work?
Well, I just never take anything personally. Yeah, it's I'm in a business where, you know,
Come on, it hurts sometimes.
You know, if everyone's going to be honest, it's criticism always hurts. There's no one that's exempt from it, you know, and it's you are, you know, you feel pain. I'm only a human being, you know, you feel pain and you feel hurt and you feel disappointment. But I've come into this business with my eyes wide open. I know what it's about. I know that it's a you know, results based business, and if results aren't going well, you expect stick. You know, I think probably once or twice, you know, the stick we've had has probably gone above and beyond, you know, what I would class as just being normal. But I've got broad shoulders and I've got thick skin, and in the interviews before, I've always said that, you know, I'm my own worst critic, you know, and I'm hard on myself, and you know, no matter if there's 2,000, 20,000, 50,000 people in a stadium, you know, whatever they say, if we're doing badly, can't compare to what I'm going through in my own head, you know, because I try and set high standards of myself. So it's one of these things. You come into it. I know the business. I know what, you know, that it's nice when you win, but I also know that, you know, if you continuously get beat, then, or you're not performing, then the stick and the sack's just around the corner for you, you know, and it's just the business as it is.
You go home on a Saturday night, yeah, victory, that's nice. You go back home to Tasha, and you've got a child?
Yeah, I've got Ellie May.
Ellie May,
19 months old.
Yeah. I was going to say you go home to your partner, Tash, in a week or so we'll say you go home to your wife. Yeah, this is... Let's go back to that again. That's on, definitely.
Yeah.
This time, on the 4th of January.
Yeah.
The 6th of January, they play Liverpool. Certain birthday, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my 29th, Tony.
Yeah, well, you can obviously lie for England. But, so 42nd?
41st.
41st birthday, eh?
Feel like 60.
On the day you play Liverpool, eh? What will you be like on that day? You know, in the morning, first thing, getting up, wake up. Will you sleep the night before?
Yeah, I'm always a good sleeper the night before. It's usually the adrenaline rush after a game that I struggle to sleep. You know, I know it sounds weird, and I'm probably different to a lot of people, but I always keep myself level. You know, it's when the the razzmatazz and the band's in town and you're playing in front of packed stadiums and you're getting results. It's very easy to get an ego. But then again, when you're losing, it's very easy to get really low. So I always keep myself level. You know, I say the period in my life, my mid-20s, taught me a lot about myself, and it taught me how to deal with myself, if that makes sense. And I'm very good at keeping myself grounded. I'm a typical working class boy. I like a few beers, I like a laugh and a joke, and I also like to keep myself level.
At times, people have said, will John Radford get rid of Paul Cox, etc., who's dispensed with two managers? That once he didn't pick himself, he picked you. He made that point. He said to me, on record, interview carried out on this radio station, Paul Cox is more likely to leave than I am ever to fire him. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I just think, the chairman's a very, very shrewd man and a very, very clever man. And, I just think he's been another, influence in my life. He's given me a lot of belief in me to believe in myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
I know he's called you at home at night after a defeat once, and not so much the chairman's reassurance. He was more concerned about how you were because Tasha answered the phone.
Yeah, I'm one of these people that, like I say, I set high standards for myself, and when I fall below those standards, I've said that there could be 50,000 people in the stadium that want to hang me, but I get really hard on myself, and I'll go within myself. Going back to the dark side, I think that's really my dark side. Is that I really like to set high standards, and if I fall below them, and people around me are falling below them, I'm very, very hard on myself.
Two JRs made a lot of difference in your life. John Ramshaw, John Radford. Yeah, it's a bit odd, that JR, isn't it?
Yeah, some people might talk about fate and stuff like that. All I can say is that there's been some good people in my life that I'm never going to turn my back on. I learned to embrace good people, and I want good people around me, and I'll never let people that have helped me out, I'll never let them down.
New Year just around the corner from us now, Christmas just behind us. What's your wish and your thoughts for everybody at Mansfield Town Football Club, those that support Mansfield Town Football Club, and the people that live in this area?
Well, I'm hoping that we've put a little ray of sunshine in there with the Liverpool game. It looks like it's captivated everyone's. And it's one of these scenarios where I think everybody's looking forward to the Liverpool game, but we want them to embrace the rest of the season now and really get behind the lads. They had a massive part to play in our second half of the season last year, and I think this is one thing I want to get across, is that this town could be, and the club could be so big if people understand, if they get behind it, it could be massive. And it's just believing that, it's a massive word, but, it can take you places. Beliefs, it's a powerful word.
Paul Cox, a very, very happy New Year to you. And even as a Liverpool fan, I've got to say, on that particular day, I'd love you to get a result.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Well, we'll go out with your very last choice. Your very last choice of song. I'll let you say it. I'm not going to say any more. What is it?
It's a lovely song. It's it's when I've gone home and I've lost, and my daughter, she opens the door, and the words in this song are absolutely fabulous, and really it really evens everything out. It's a song called "Landing in London" by Three Doors Down.